This is your place for all things Grand Rapids Griffins and all things Toledo Walleye. This is the Hockeytown West podcast with your hosts, Brandon Cook, Nick Harrington, and Travis Foch.
Well, we're back with another Toledo Walleye update. Sorry about last week's. It's 100% Travis's fault for thinking internet in the mountains was a common thing, and he learned real quick that it's not. But we are back, and we're making it up to you guys because we're bringing you a special interview as well with the captain of the Toledo Walleye. The mayor of Toledo, Brandon Hawkins, is joining the show. After we get through our news updates, welcome back to the Hockeytown West podcast, your source for everything Griffins hockey and Toledo Walleye hockey. And boys, I know a lot has happened over 2 weeks. I know the fans probably want breakdowns of everything. If we did that, we'd be bringing you a 3-hour Toledo update. We can't do that. We know there's a ton of roster moves that we haven't talked about on the show yet. We're not going to go through every single one. We've posted heavily about them on our social media pages. So if you're looking for updates on what our opinions of the guys are, definitely check those out. But by now, you guys have seen most of those players in action. So we're not going to dive into it. Sorry to disappoint you. Just know that I think, Travis, the one thing that we'll bring from the episode that was originally recorded is we probably never want to hear the complaint of the team is not big enough again, right?
100%. No more complaints about size.
Yeah. Even though one of the guys they added is not big, but he's proven to be just an absolute ball of hate. And I think the fans have already just fallen in love with Cam Hausinger so far.
100%. Yeah, I would agree with that, especially when he got into the fight at home.
It was a good fight, too. But let's talk about the news, because every time we record an episode about either of these teams we cover, there's transactions to talk about. The first one was the most surprising one to us when we talked on the Griffins show this week. And if you haven't checked that out, you're looking for our Griffins content, make sure you go back and check out that most recent episode. And if you're looking for Red Wings content, you came to the wrong podcast. Unfortunately, we don't talk too much about the Red Wings here, especially this time of year. But if you're looking for that content, make sure you head over to check out our friends at the Grindline podcast, who I'm sure are enjoying the stresses of March and still being 2 points out of a playoff picture. Make sure you're checking out the boys over there and hearing their takes on what's happening in Detroit. We're trying to build a little podcast family with them, so we'll give them the shout out as they've been giving us great shout outs every week as well. But to the news and the transaction that shocked us all, it was the Carson Bantle and Alex Doucette assignment to Toledo. I know as soon as we saw this, Travis, your instant thought was this is going to be the Hunter situation last year. They're going to send him down for a couple of games, not qualify him, call him back up, and we're never going to see him again. They called him back up after 3 games, but there's still time to get 5.
I'll believe it when they're here. That's where I'm at with it.
Okay, so for Toledo fans, just to make sure they understand, the Griffins are on the road all week this week, up in Manitoba to end this week with 2 weird 3 o'clock games, Friday and Saturday. We're assuming that Bance and Deuce were called back up just to have the bodies ready, kind of how Todd does it with Detroit a lot. They call up the extra guy to have that body when they need him on the road, just in case, so there's not this scrambling. I don't know if you've seen recently, getting through airports is kind of a disaster. So it's probably just a preparedness plan to have these guys there. Neither of them played on Wednesday for the Griffins, so that kind of tells us that when the Griffins get back stateside here in their home next weekend, I'm assuming you're probably going to see Bantle and Doucette back down with the Toledo Walleye to get their 5 games. But you guys also got another Griffin this week.
Michael Milne.
Yeah, which I don't think any of us saw that one coming either. Another guy down there to get some games, and the perfect way to describe him is kind of how we described Cam, just a little ball of hate that goes out there and causes chaos. But I mean, he spent the entire last part of the season in the AHL. He hasn't played an ECHL game until this week. And he's produced some offense in the AHL. Is he like a top 6 player in the AHL? No, but we don't know what this guy's going to be capable of in the ECHL. If he can come down there, qualify, you guys might have a really key piece for the playoffs there.
It's even more interesting because it was a Red Wings decision. Like they reassigned him from Grand Rapids to Toledo. So that's the more interesting piece to that. So, and the same thing would have been done with Deuce too. So it's just a very interesting element that when they made the trade to get, Milne and Wojo, that like I didn't expect either of them to come down here. I for sure didn't expect Wojo, but
you won't see him down there clearly at this point. Oh my God.
I was stunned when I saw Milne was coming down. I did not expect that.
I think it goes to like what we've complained about for years, and I know Walleye fans have complained all season because you guys have had players from Cleveland get assigned. Grand Rapids has just been picking the team apart, including even having to assign Hawk to a PTO for a weekend. And you're seeing the organization set itself up for success for the playoffs to where Toledo's going to have AHL bodies in the playoffs, hopefully, which is not something we're used to these past few seasons. And the Griffins will have guys playing and ready for a call-up if there's an injury in the playoffs, because the Griffins are obviously, the goal is to go deep. It's to have a deep run. So for once, we're kind of set up for success in that angle.
It's going to be kind of crazy the next couple weeks as well, like depending on what Detroit does, right? Because then we would get Shine and Mazer back in Grand Rapids. And then you're going to have the Black Aces too. So they want guys playing. So it was a surprise to see Mill get sent down. I think I heard yesterday on the broadcast, it was like 196 games he's played in the AHL, one in the NHL. He was in the Olympics?
No, he wasn't. Wojo was the Olympian, not Mill.
So it's just crazy to see that he did get dropped. And, maybe, you might see Bantle and Deuce back down there once we get Shine and Mazer back as well. So it wouldn't be too far-fetched to see them kind of down there to make a deeper playoff run too to help you guys out.
And Travis, I need you to remind me and probably remind the fans, when it comes down to that playoff roster that Pat has to go through and select, where do the AHL guys fall into that whatever numbered man roster they're supposed to have?
So you get 24 total. It's a hard 24. That's your playoff roster. American League contracted guys have to get 5 games in the ECHL. So it would be Deuce and Bance need 2 more. Mill needs 4 more. And then like your kids coming out of college, if they don't hit that number, they're exempt. Because I think that happened last year. Like rookies, I think, are exempt from that. Because we had a couple that I don't think hit 5 games last year, and they were on the playoff roster.
Does it concern you at all to potentially have 3 out of that 24 be guys that could call up to Grand Rapids at any minute? Or do you think, there's that reserve that exists out there that Pat could probably pull from guys who have either suited up this year that don't make that playoff roster, or just guys they've recently signed that they could have at the ready?
I don't think you can dip into that unless you have guys that are ruled out with injuries. Like I think if you have those 3 and they get called up, you're playing short. Like I think that's just how it goes. So it's definitely something that you have to take into consideration when making your playoff roster. I remember a few years back, I believe it was it might have been the year after the pandemic. We had like 3 guys up in GR, and like we got Brett McKenzie back for like a game. I believe we were playing Cincinnati. We needed a guy like bad. And he came back from Grand Rapids and ended up playing and was here for the rest of the playoffs. But until they get their 5, I'm not even worrying about it. Like, just
That's
because of what happened last year. Like there's no guarantee they're gonna come back. Is it possible? Yeah. Would it be amazing? Yeah. But is it going to create some very tough decisions? You 100% better believe it's going to make some very tough decisions.
Now, if those college signings do get their 5 games, are they no longer like exempt from that rule?
They can be on the roster regardless.
Oh, okay. Well, then
they don't need to
influx
hit
of college
5.
signings makes sense.
Yeah.
What about juniors?
Any rookie coming in, the rookies don't count, I don't think, that are signed this late in the year.
Good to know.
Because
you saw Milne get assigned, but then you guys added a guy as well, another college guy.
Yeah, another defenseman. Campbell Psychos from Minnesota State had 4 goals, 10 assists, 14 points in 40 games played, and was an alternate captain. Obviously, just was in the tournament for the NCAA, so his season just recently came to an end. And they just continue to add, right? Like you seen them add Duff last week on the back end, and now you have another rookie coming in out of college.
Yeah, it's exciting to see these guys continue to come in, and especially when you talk about that rule, right, where these rookies can be exempt from that. If you're going to have a few extra AHL guys down there that maybe a month ago you didn't plan on having, let's be real, none of us saw that coming. You get some of these guys in that can produce at a high level, and they have in college, and they can come in here and make an impact potentially in the playoffs. Who knows? You might see them in a game or 2 here and there before the end of the regular season. But all of a sudden, where we talk about, depth in this organization, especially at this level, where we saw what the lack of depth did in Grand Rapids, we have some depth suddenly. It's weird.
Well, it's sent 2 guys to the 14-day IR because you can only have so many active and on 3-day IR and so many, on reserve. So like Keenan and Cruz are on the 14-day. What does that do long term for them? I don't know, but they're still around. They're just on the 14-day. So we'll see how it plays out.
Well, it seems like some of the vets might get, that 14-day break heading into the playoffs, which as long as, they can get back on the ice before game one and have, a good skate with the team and can keep it game intensity, that's not a bad problem to have.
No, and you got to see what you got, right? It's kind of like you know what you have in some of the guys. Like maybe you can afford to sit them, keep them somewhat fresh down the stretch, and then, give some young guys an opportunity. And they've given a lot of young players looks this year, so it doesn't totally surprise me.
Exactly. The last piece of news is around the roller hockey league, which is kind of fun because we're going to toss this to an interview with a guy, obviously, that's playing in it this year. And we got to talk a little bit about it with Brandon Hawkins during the interview, but you've got some news about the teams.
So they announced the 4 names: the Glass City Pain, the Maumee Bay Ghost Frogs, the 419 Bladers, and the Sasquatches.
Which team is Hawk playing on?
The Glass City Pain is where he'll be.
Right.
They really fumbled the Sasquatches. They should have just left it Sasquatch.
Okay. All right.
But
are there jerseys out? Can we buy one?
No jerseys yet.
Nick's a big Sasquatch guy, so I think that's what he models his beard after.
Well, Brandon was looking for him a couple weeks ago, so.
Always looking for him, man. You always got to be on your toes with that guy. No, it's cool. Obviously, that'll be a fun summer thing for us to talk about here and there when that goes into place, and seeing Hawk get to play in it. Obviously, like we said in the interview, he talks a little bit about it, and there's a fun little bit of back and forth about that there's gonna be hitting and fighting in this league, and you'll have to stay tuned for that. So we're gonna throw it over to the mayor now. When we come back, we'll recap the 4 games that have happened in the last week and wrap up this episode. But for now, here's Travis and I with Brandon Hawkins.
All right, man. Thanks for having us.
Oh, thanks for having me.
No. You guys are way too good to us.
We're the guests in your house here. I mean, this is your house, right? You have a bedroom back there.
Well, hold on. Before you guys go there, it was TJ Hensix and Shane Burschbacks and AJ Jenks and Jeff Lurgs. You got to go with those guys because they started it here.
You just signed the lease and took over.
I asked for permission.
But no, seriously, man, thanks for having us back. Thanks for doing this. And just obviously there's been a lot that's happened this season. You're named captain, you're going to call it the GR. The team here is doing fantastic again this season. So we've got a lot to talk about today. But just before we go into all that, how are you doing?
Good. Really good. Little whirlwind of a weekend this past weekend, but it's been so much fun. You guys kind of know how I go about things, right? That paradise every day mentality of, and excuse my cussing, but sometimes you got to eat a shit sandwich with a smile on your face, and that's it. You're gonna get dealt bad hands. You're gonna get bounces that don't go your way. Look, I think I had a 10, 15 game stretch where I maybe had 3 or 4 points. But to me, I'm trying to play the game the right way and do things the right way, and I'll do it with a smile on my face because the only point of this game is to win.
Yeah, I can't argue with that.
Obviously, special year. You get a big announcement before the season starts. You get named captain. Where were you when you found out, and how was that experience?
Mick actually called me into his office and told me with all the coaches it's a really cool experience, especially having some of the captains I've had over the years. So it's very special to me, and I'm definitely proud of it.
What was it like just that first night, the home opener, getting to skate out with the C on your jersey? It was a little emotional for you?
Yeah, and really, really special, something I won't forget. Obviously, you grow up wanting something like that, right? Every kid thinks of I want to be a captain in Game 7 of the Stanley Cup Finals and score the game-winning goal. It's so special. It's hard to explain because I got to do it with one of my idols with TJ Hensick, and to see how he carried himself, to see how he did things was kind of like a path to show me on what I needed to do.
Was that the first phone call?
No, it was my wife, then my dad.
There you go.
Yeah. So that was, it was really cool.
Did you talk to Henny about it at all after the fact?
Yeah, we talked a little bit, and, we talk here and there throughout the year. He's always busy. He's coaching kids, coaching Howell High School, and he's got 3 little ones. He's pure hockey dad right now. But you know what? In weird situations, I'll always lean on him. And that's what's really cool is he's like an older brother. So it's a special relationship.
Does it make it even more special that you've called this place home? You've made this home?
Yeah, 100%. And if you look at the captains that have come before me, here is a long line of some pretty unbelievable hockey players. So to be able to say my name's amongst those guys is pretty special.
So you got Little different group this year.
Mhm.
Obviously, your first couple years here, more veteran heavy group.
Yeah.
This year, a lot younger.
Yeah.
Kind of what's that been like mentoring the younger guys?
You know what? It's fun for me because like all I'm trying to help them understand and learn is the stuff that I didn't get. So to hope that they don't miss out on something and to hope that they do the right thing so they can end up in the American League and maybe in the NHL. So there's going to be your lumps and bumps with being a rookie, and you kind of just, again, you have to do it with a smile on your face because not everything's going to go your way, especially as a rookie. So to have them learn and understand resiliency and play the game the right way, and good things will happen.
I mean, you guys are just coming off one of the least favorite weeks for players, the trade deadline. How do you, as a leader on this team, keep guys centered and focused when you don't know what tomorrow can bring?
No matter what, the job at hand is the next game. And I know guys are worried and things like that, but guess what? We still have to go out and play. And when you put your skates on, there should be no other thought in your head other than winning.
Talk about like young guy like Kelly having a great rookie season. Have you taught him a lot, especially with scoring?
He always picks my brain on things with shooting and where and why and shooter's IQ type things. He's a great player, but he's a smart kid, which is to have good hockey IQ coming in first year is big, especially in this league. That's how you move up. And he's taken everything in stride, which is special.
I know a few weeks ago there was the night that he went down the wing and scored, and then you banked one off the goalie's helmet. It was like kind of came to mind of like anything you could do, I could do better.
That's
like,
what he said to me in the locker room. But it was funny. Yeah, I love that kid. He's fun to be around. He's always bouncing around the locker room with good energy, and he's just a good human being.
Any of the other younger guys really stand out?
You know,
day-to-day basis.
Like, the one that comes to mind is probably Nate Waugh. He's got an unbelievable motor. He never stops moving his feet. You got guys like Dylan Moulton who are an American League defenseman in the East Coast League. It's special to see the younger generation coming up because there's so much skill and they're so good at hockey. It's just getting them to be resilient and understand that there's 72 games here, not 40 in college. You have to have consistency to be good in this league.
One thing like with you this year, kind of had a revolving door of line mates.
Yeah.
A couple years past, it's been pretty standard all year. How's this year been?
It's had its ebbs and flows, right? But you try to take it as whatever guy I'm playing with, I want to make better. And doesn't matter what night. It could be I'm playing with Sam Craigs one night. It could be I'm playing with Louis the next night, and even Hausinger or Dickey the next night. It doesn't matter. It's you want to try to make everyone around you better, and you have again the mindset is the game at hand is what matters, and you got to find a way to win.
Speaking of Cam, what does he bring to this group?
A lot of so I've played against him over the years, and I've always hated playing against him. But he's a hard-nosed power forward that can score, that has a lot of bite. Like if you look at his numbers, he's consistently between 15 and 20 goals. He's usually a plus player. He kills penalties. He plays in power play, scores goals when they're needed, and he's not afraid to throw them when he needs to.
Is that a move they think was geared towards the playoffs?
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does that get you guys some excitement when you get a guy that's some sandpaper and nails come into the room?
100%. Because it's, again, he makes it really hard on the other team's skilled guys. The same things he would try to do against me, Henny, Spies, Blisser. He's going to do to the guys on the other end, and it's really big for us.
One of the new guys I want to ask about, Van Wy.
Yeah.
And just what he's brought to this team already, and just what impresses you the most.
Honestly, his energy. He's another guy that just pops around the locker room. He's fun to be around. He's always got a smile on his face. He loves putting his skates on. He loves the game. When you're a University of Michigan graduate and you play hockey there, you're going to be a good hockey player.
Speaking of a University of Michigan graduate, Jacob Truscott, you had to watch him develop this season in his first full year of pro hockey. Obviously, we've seen him in GR here and there. What's impressed you about his development?
Honestly, like his mindset in picking when and his spots. Like there's a time to make a move and beat a guy at the blue line. There's a time where you got to live to die another day, and he's been very good at learning that throughout this first year. And you can see the couple moves he's made where he'll fake a shot, pull it around, walk in almost on a breakaway because that guy's coming to full bore. He knows how to beat him. So it's really special to see him develop, and I love that he goes up and has the chance to play up there. So I hope he gets the full chance.
And say strike you as a guy that might have a permanent chance up there.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Talk about this year as a whole. I mean, the ECHL, you guys have really dealt with it, like a lot of ins and outs with guys coming and going. Like, does that make it tough on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, but it's the culture here, right? The culture's always been next man up mentality. If you're going to get the opportunity, you have to run with it. There's going to be games where we're playing short guys. There's going to be games where there's too many forwards and too many D in the room. You have to find a way when the opportunity presents itself to be good. And again, that the whole idea is to play to win. When you're playing to win, it doesn't matter who's in the lineup and who's not.
Is there anything that stood out about this group as a whole that's really been there's success here?
I think our bounce back. You could see early in the year we were trying to figure it. A lot of young guys didn't really understand the ebbs and flows of the league, but now you can see the bounce back. It's like we're never out of a game. Even if we lose one, the next line is the mentality is going out, we're winning. We're not a back-to-back loss type of team. And that's the whole idea here is the culture is to bounce back, be resilient, and get better as we go.
One of my favorite parts about the culture, not just your team, but just the fan base as a whole, as you guys went through that learning phase where maybe the results weren't what fans would want to see, but the building was still packed.
Yeah. Yeah, it's, again, you can live off the energy in here. It's a special place, and anybody that's gotten to play here understands it, and anybody that's gotten to play against us understands how great our fans are. But it can be there can be bad times, but no matter what, you understand the fans are behind us.
I think that's one thing Cam, I think, said to Martin last night is he hated coming here in the playoff.
Yeah.
Just a home ice advantage.
Yeah, and all the people yelling at him in the visitor hallway right there, coming on and off the bench. So that always helps.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, we got to talk about Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
Why was it the right time?
You know what? And Waddy called me and basically he asked, would you do it? And I asked him, hey, dude, can I take an hour or a few minutes to think about it? And I called and talked to my wife, called and talked to my dad. My wife never saw me play in the American League. Obviously, Rowan, there's a chance that that might be the only time Rowan gets to see me play in the American League. But I don't know if it was so much that it was the right time. I know that our team here is in a good spot. I wasn't worried in that sense. And I can't say no to Waddy. Waddy is the reason I have everything I do here. So when it comes to him asking me something like that, it's kind of always a yes. And I know he knows the player I am and trusts what I can do. And that's a special relationship him and I have. So it was a really, really fun experience.
Can we talk about the Friday night game that didn't happen? You step out there for warm-ups onto that ice, and what was your first thought?
I almost tore my ACL.
Oh, God.
I stepped out, took a crossover, and went in the ice about that much.
Oh, my goodness.
My.
And then I saw everybody wouldn't cross over in the corners. They were kind of doing the train track turn where you turn like a tugboat. And it was, you know what? Yeah, it's not on the ice crew. I feel bad for them because they took a lot of shit. But from what I understand, the compressor went down and the alarm and the compressor were closer on the same breaker board. So there was no alarm for when it went off. So I felt really bad for them because it wasn't their fault.
Yeah, 100% not their fault. And then you guys do get to play there Saturday night.
Yep.
Was it better?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was much better than that first night.
Yeah.
So, and then I wish I got to wear the purple jersey, but somebody from Toledo definitely bought it.
Oh, yeah, 100%. There's no doubt in my mind about that. I kept watching that go up. I'm like, is this the time I finally get my hands on a Hawk jersey? Nope, not a chance.
Not for $2,000.
No. Sorry, buddy. I want to, but not happening.
The running joke is first $3,000 Griffins jersey inbound, and
I think it is.
we were watching it, and I'm like, it's stalled at 19. I was like, that might be a lot cheaper than anything he ever had in Toledo.
Oh,
outside of Golden.
I thought it was hilarious. No, it was really, really fun. And some of the people I know there, Dog's one of my favorite people on the planet.
Oh, yeah.
And you know what? He's been such a good friend with Spees for such a long time. I got to meet him when he came down here, and he treated me like his own, and it's something I can never repay him for, maybe a lunch or a round of golf at some point. But being around him, being around the guys that have played in the NHL a long time, being around Waddy and Lash and stuff, it was a really fun, special experience.
Was it nice to get to catch up with Cossa and Doucette too?
Oh yeah, and Bance.
Oh yeah, and Bance too.
Yep.
Yeah.
And then I knew Angle from Cleveland. I had so many connections in that locker room, which is hilarious. Like I went to high school with Dries. He wasn't there, but he texted Lipes that just say hi to Hawk for me. I've known Shiner since we were 10 and 11 years old because he played with Spees. Like it's hilarious how that all works. So I played at college against Leonard. Like it's
jeez, all of those connections.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously there's some pieces of that team missing while you're up there, but can you see why that team is having the success they're having just in that room?
And the room is the reason. It's such a fun room to be in. Like you walk in there's an energy about it. There's a swagger to it. And you could see the culture that the older guys have created, like the Shines, the Dries, the Gustafsons, like all the older guys there that want to win are keeping that culture in such a great spot. It's a lot of fun.
We got to talk about one thing that happened Saturday in warmups that you did to poor Postava.
The heel shot?
Yeah.
Well, you know what? That's the first time I've ever been involved in a warm-up shootout. Okay? I've come in and Cossa grabs me and goes, hey, we do a shootout at the end of warm-ups. I go, you guys serious? Because yeah. I'm like, this is going to be so much fun.
I saw you do the full spin plus that.
Oh yeah, like I have to have some fun with it. That's just who I am. And the funny part is like Postava played inline hockey, and I know all the Czech Federation national team. So like he knows all my buddies that I know from the Czech Republic. So now Czechia. So it was so much fun. And then like getting to play on a power play with Gustafson and Mazer and those guys, that was even more fun.
Yeah, I was gonna say in the Chicago game, I think you had one where Gus set you up, you ripped it from your office, it didn't go in, but then you take it up towards the slot and you try to shoot it off Mazer's stick.
Sear was in the net front. I snapped it to him sitting in the net front. It was, again, it's Waddy trusting me just to kind of play my game. If I see something, do something.
Yeah, no, it was fun to watch as a fan. Like obviously our power play's been good at points this season, but seeing creativity like that, I was like, oh, this is
probably the only time in the American League you'll ever see a guy with 600 NHL games and 400 East Coast games on a power play together.
Take us through that play with a guy like Gus, like just a true power play quarterback.
Oh, it's so easy. He made the game so easy for me because I know what my job is. And if it's the shot's not there, put it back on his tape, and it's that simple. And he was really communicative with me, and he's like, I want you to shoot everything. I'm like, all right, twist my arm. But it was so cool because we read and played off each other. Like I knew what he was doing, he knew what I was doing, and he trusted the fact that I was going to do it. And that's the really cool part is the trust factor there.
Obviously, family in attendance.
Yeah,
that had to be even more special.
Oh, it was awesome. Like Rowan got to see me in warm-ups, and I got to go up to the glass and see him. It was really special for my wife to come and get to see me play in the first American League game where she could see it. So it was really cool. And you know what? She's kind of the one that pushes me and makes me better in a lot of different ways. And it's a special experience for the whole family.
Yeah, thanks for bringing Rowan to post game too.
Oh, yeah.
Always love that.
Yeah.
I know
I had to.
Oh yeah.
Well, I joked with them. I'm like, you guys got the Hawk experience that I haven't got yet, and that's Rowan in post game.
Then you got it. When did you get it? Did you get it the other day?
No.
All right, I'll bring him next time.
No, that was you interviewing TK.
Yes. All right. Yeah.
Always a fun environment.
Have to.
Oh yeah.
Something kind of neat this summer coming.
Yeah.
We got to talk about
The roller hockey league.
Yeah. How did Dunk twist your arm?
No. The guy that ran it he's in all the tournaments in the summertime. I've known him for a long time. And he asked me if I wanted to play. I'm like, why not? It's in my hometown. It's at my rink. Why not? I love roller hockey. That's what I grew up doing. It's how I got into ice hockey. It's why I have the offensive ability and hockey IQ that I do. So if I get to do it in front of the people that love hockey here, why not?
What's the big difference?
Well, this league's actually full contact and fighting is allowed. But the biggest difference in roller hockey, no offsides, no icing, no hitting. And it's all based off of time and space, understanding hockey IQ, playing rink long man on man. And you really have to understand how to kind of 2-on-1 every guy you play against. And it really translates to ice hockey because you look at it, all of ice hockey is 2-on-1s, 2-on-1 here, 2-on-1 there, D zone, O zone, neutral zone, doesn't matter. So it really translated because I try to see the play or the next play ahead of what I'm doing because that's where roller hockey comes from. I'm trying to create something to create an offensive opportunity. And the same thing happens here.
Is there going to be a little different playing at full contact with that?
Well, I'd love to see somebody try to hit me on rollerblades.
Really?
Yeah. I'm better on rollerblades than I am on ice skates.
Really?
Yes.
Why is it? Because isn't it a little bit of a different stride?
If you're lazy.
If you're lazy? Okay.
Yeah.
See, I don't know. I never played rollers.
Yeah. So it's everyone bags on roller, like it'll ruin your skate. Well, it only ruins your skating stride if you're kind of messing around and not playing shinny. Like that's where you get lazy with the stride. But if you're playing like the pro divisions that we play in the summertime, you're playing with Adam Ernie and playing against Pat Maroon. Brandon Hagel was asked to play last year. Like you're playing against all these guys that have played in the NHL, played in the American League. We're not out there to mess around. We're out there because there's a $25,000 pot on the line and we want to win some cash at the end of the weekend.
So like a lot of people maybe have not seen it in person.
Yeah.
What do you say to those people to get them down here to watch it?
It's high scoring. It's exciting. You add hitting into the aspect. It's even more exciting. And then fighting's allowed. Why not? Like it's hockey. Okay. It's hockey, but there's no offsides and no icing. You can't tell me that's not going to be a blast.
Yeah, that's going to be fun.
Yeah. You think back to like the 90s NHL, the 2-line pass. And
Yeah.
This is like, there's no lines.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
No, there's one line at center and they were contemplating doing an over back rule. Like once you go over the red line, you can't go back. It's kind of like basketball, over back violation, just to create more offense.
Are you expecting a lot of big names to play in it, you think?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I know Birch wants to play.
Yeah?
Oh, boy.
Are you in a lot of people's ears about it?
And I'm focused on ice hockey right now, to be
Right.
completely honest.
Yeah.
I'm helping out with him, trying to talk to a few people around here. But my whole thing is this is the season at hand. Roller hockey will always be there.
Right.
I'm not worried about that. I love it and I'll always do it. But the goal here is to win.
Bring it back to here. Like I said, goals to win.
Yeah.
How do you feel your group is now versus in October?
We've grown up a lot and added some pieces that we really needed. Hoping that Brownie will show up here in the next couple weeks. That'll be an even bigger piece that we add, and then we're even in a better spot.
What do you think a guy like that, if he gets here, can really help you guys with?
Yeah, I played with Brownie my rookie year in Wheeling. He's a high hockey IQ. He kind of doesn't play. He plays the game the right way and doesn't make many mistakes and has a scoring touch. So that always helps. But I think Brownie's more of a passer than he is a shooter. And I think back, we played against Kalamazoo one night, and I think I had a hat trick in 4 minutes, and they were all the same pass from him. So it's hilarious to think about, like, his hockey IQ and ability to make plays are very, very high at an elite level. I mean, his dad's Doug Brown, played in the NHL, played for the Wings. Brothers, Patrick Brown, he's the captain of Providence, played in the American League and the NHL. He comes from a hockey family. He knows how to play the game, and he'll help us.
I want to talk about some of like the additions as a whole. You look at Funk, bigger body, Van Wy, a little bit bigger. Like, do you think that maybe last year in the finals, you guys maybe the staff maybe saying, okay, we got to be maybe a little different in certain areas?
Yeah, I think size was like, we played against a big tough team that had 3,000 American League contracts. But you know what? It's size always helps, right? If you think about a guy that's 6'3" playing against me and it hits me every chance, he's going to take something out of me, right?
Right.
No matter what, he's going to take a chunk. So it's definitely nice to have those additions.
I hate to ask about it, but like, did you feel like you guys deserved more last
Yes.
year? Because if you look at it analytically,
Did you look at our shot totals against that
Yeah.
kid?
Yeah.
Like, it was the same year playing my first year where we played against Cam Johnson.
Yeah.
And I love Cam. He's my brother. And Cam Cam's a gamer. You know, he saves it for playoffs.
Yeah.
And that's like, you need something like that.
Yeah. It seems like every year, once you get deeper, you run into like LaFontaine, Johnson, and now Calvin last year. Like, it was crazy. But like this year, obviously one game at a time.
Yep.
You know, everybody wants, you guys are there too. Nobody wants it more than you guys.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I would say nobody wants it more than our fans, but yeah.
More than the players?
Do you read the post?
I read the post. Trust me. You don't have to talk to me about the post.
Yeah, I'm in the group. I read it.
One thing with that though, like obviously you see what they talk about.
Yeah.
Like, do you just shake your head sometimes?
Yes.
But like, because you guys do care that
Yeah,
much.
they don't know what they don't know. That's why everything's taken with a grain of salt, right? They've watched the Storm days. They understand the game. You can't say that they don't know hockey, because they do, because it's a hockey town. But there's a lot of things where I'll flat out say you don't know what's going on because you're not there.
But you got to respect the passionate side of it.
Absolutely. Because again, what's this town without the passion?
Right.
You got a blue collar, hardworking town that loves their hockey.
And they show up every night.
Yeah. Oh, you guys laugh. I got invited to play in Chris Wormley's celebrity softball game in June.
Oh, here in Fifth Third?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
boy.
that'll be fun.
So you're in on that?
Yeah.
So what's your expectation with that? Did you play baseball when you were young?
I messed around with it. I played everything. I played softball with my buddies and different things like that. Who knows? It'll be fun. Rowan will definitely be on the field with me. So,
you should have him bat smaller strike zone.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea. Have him hold the bat and bunt one out there and then run him to the space.
That's all I've got.
Yeah, I mean, that's all I got too.
Just really appreciate you doing
this. Not a problem, guys. It was really cool to get to go do the Grand Rapids thing. Bob Kaiser was one of my favorite people on the planet, and I got to sit and talk to him for a bit. And he's like, I've been waiting for this for 5 years.
That's what we were all saying up there.
I'm like, well, you guys got the perfect storm. You got the one guy I'm going to say yes to.
Yeah, I think the one thing with that, when you ripped the one-timer and it like went through the goalie's glove and he went like...
That was my college roommate.
Oh, was it?
Caden Primo, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so he knew it was coming.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
He never knows where it's going, but he knows it's coming.
Is that why you didn't go for the bank pass off or shot off the helmet?
Yeah.
You had an opportunity.
He has good post play. So goalies have good post play. I never really go for a bank unless I really don't like the guy, and I'm going to try to put him in concussion protocol. But with Preems is really good on his posts and the way he can shuttle out, shuttle back, shuttle across. Like a shot like that's a waste of momentum for me. If there's a goalie like how Tung played here for Bloomington, he would always stick his head far out on the post. And if you look at Draisaitl, right, Draisaitl always plays the bank off the side. It's all depending on the goalie.
Yeah. No, I just want to say we can't thank you.
Appreciate you guys.
No, you don't have to appreciate us. We appreciate you guys and the team more than anything.
I served my 3 games just in time for this. So.
Yeah, it's probably a good thing.
I was wondering if like it counted.
I mean, it was a game that didn't happen.
We'll give him a pass.
I drove down for this. We'll make it work. But no, thank you, man.
No, not a problem. My last thing is Brad Dog Thompson, you are the mayor of Grand Rapids.
There we go. I like that.
It works. It works every time.
There you go. No.
Should I go down the stairs? Guys, wait, we're gonna come back.
DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NHL, is built for the fastest game on ice. With player props, live betting, every shift, every shot, every save gives you options to get in on the game with DraftKings Sportsbook. Currently, the NHL is on an Olympic break, but right now you can bet a plus 10,000 for Moritz Seider to win the Norris Trophy, or plus 3,500 for John Gibson to win the Vezina. Pretty good odds there for our guys. New customers bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THPN. That's code THPN to turn $5 into $300 in bonus bets if your bet wins. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. New York, call 8778-HOPE-NY. Connecticut, call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino in Kansas, wager tax pass-through may apply in Illinois. 21 plus in most states. Void in Ontario. Restrictions apply. Bet must win to receive bonus bets, which expire in 7 days. Minimum odds required. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio. Limited time offer. Copyright 2026 reserved.
And welcome back, Trav. That was a super fun interview, man. I know you did a lot of work with the Walleye and Hawk to get that coordinated. So thank you for making that happen. I'm glad I could make the trip down to Toledo to get to do it with you. But I know we ask this after every interview. Just what was your biggest takeaway from talking to him in this one?
I mean, the quote of the century, like 1,000 games between the ECHL and AHL or NHL. Like with him and Gus.
It was said 6 times that night at least. We heard not just to us. He was telling other people. Hawk is very proud of that stat, and he should be. Like, there is not many players that can say that. It's pretty impressive.
True. It is very true.
Yeah, I mean, for me, dude, it was actually just the opportunity for him to come play in Grand Rapids. I know there was a lot of good stuff said about Toledo and what this team is doing this year and, how they've kind of had to learn and build along the way. This is much different than the past few seasons that we've seen and covered this team. But for his opportunity in Grand Rapids, and you can tell just genuinely how much joy it brought him to come up and do that, except for, the ice incident that one night. It was just really cool to see him talk about that and just tell how much fun him and his family had up here in Grand Rapids and how much fun we had getting to watch him play in a Griffins uniform for the first time. That was just an all-around cool experience. Of course, being the Grand Rapids guy, that's going to be my takeaway. But either way, thank you again to Hawk and the Walleye for helping us get that set up. Let's talk about some hockey games that happened now. We've got 4. We're not going to go too crazy in depth since some of these are a little bit old news, and we know you fans are dedicated enough to know what happened in all of them. But let's talk about the first one. We're going back to March 27th with Indy and Toledo playing, and Indy gets the shootout victory over Toledo. Nick, what was it about this game? Because I know you covered this game that night with Travis being on vacation.
This was a crazy game because Toledo really had the chances throughout it. Jerusik played out of his mind, I thought. I don't get a whole lot of chances to be able to watch, and he really stood out for me. A lot of the puck just going everywhere. Being bounced up, he was catching it, and it was bouncing. The puck was bouncing behind him, and he caught it behind him. Just crazy puck control, and he was able to stay calm and keep the puck out of the net. This is a game that I thought that they got robbed of. They should have won this game. It went to Indy scored, but Indy scored 3 minutes into the third period, and then that was it. Like they just kind of kept the game out of control for them. Toledo had their chances, but just couldn't convert on anything. So it was just disappointing. I mean, they had 44 shots. You'd think they'd just score more than the 2 goals that they did, but went to shootout and wasn't able to convert. So
yeah, this team struggled in shootouts this season. I don't know what it is, Travis. Like, it's so weird. I think they have that one shootout win still, right? Thank God shootouts aren't a part of the playoffs, so we don't have to be worried about that. I feel like we've said that before in past seasons with this team too.
Yeah, they struggled last year, and they're struggling this year. And the fans get very upset when they see the OT losses pile up. I don't worry about OT losses. I look at regulation wins, regulation losses, because when you get to the playoffs, that's ultimately what decides it, right? It's 5-on-5. So, but yeah, it does suck. I mean, they're always such a super skilled team that they struggle to, get it done in the shootout. But I think you look at the way that they played, right? 44 shots. I mean, it was a goaltending duel, really. I mean, you have Jerusik throw up a 935 and Weeks throw up a 954. Like, not many pucks were getting past the goalies in this game. And like the one goal, like the goal that Hawk got credited for, that was just a weird play. I mean, Indy kind of put it in their own net. Craggs, again, like he went wide and like scored basically from behind the goal line. When he released the puck, he was almost behind the goal line. And, the first goal for Indy, that some controversy here on that one. Feel like that should have been covered, blown dead.
Yeah. I agree.
It seemed like it was froze, but if it is what it is, you gotta fight through some adversity. Sadly, they didn't get the win, but they always talk about how much a point means somewhere. So
exactly. I know if you're in the Detroit organization, that point means something, right? Anyways, my favorite, I will say one of my favorite things just when I look at the score sheet, because obviously like I didn't get to cover this game with Nick taking over that night, but just seeing Hawk and Deuce on the same score sheet again, combining for points, makes me smile. Like, I know Deuce probably doesn't love being sent back down to Toledo after all this time that he's played in Grand Rapids, but we've seen those two play before. We know what they're capable of, and it is a lot of fun to see those two guys play with each other. Moving on to the next game here, we've got another loss in extra time, a 4-3 loss versus Bloomington. Trav, I know we just said we don't like to see those pile up, but at the same time, it's that 5-on-5 play that matters. But Bloomington seems to really be a tough opponent this season.
They're tough out. I mean, they're going to give you a game, that's for sure. And they came out firing. They get the first 3 goals. They go up 3-0, and they make the switch for Nolan for Jerusik, I think, went back in again. So he comes in and, he gave him plenty. You go in cold and you give up the 1 goal in overtime. Yeah, he probably wants that save back just with how it kind of went in. But it wasn't a good effort as a whole. They didn't play that 60 minutes, but the fight that they have to get back in games, like they show that they're not out of a game ever. Like you go down 3-0 and then Kelly gets the goal and then Sawyer gets one and Van Wy makes it 3-3 in the third and you get to overtime and you're like, okay. And then I believe they had a power play in overtime and they just could not find that goal. And then they ended up dropping the game in overtime. But it's just it's a tough start at home, right? You feel like you deserved more in the first game. You probably stole a point in the second game with how the first half of the game went, or the first part of the game went. But you're 2 of 4 going into Sunday, and you got a chance, right? So I think that's probably the biggest thing is that they didn't quit on themselves, and that's the one thing for me that stands out when you're looking at going into the playoffs. You're going to face adversity and you're going to get punched in the face. Like, how do you respond? And the fact that they got it back to 3-3 shows a lot about that team.
Yeah, I was just going to say, it seems like this team's ability to claw back in and continue that fight, it's going to be a big part of the playoffs because every single year we've watched this team go from regular season to the playoffs. And that first game, we all look at each other and go, they look like a different team. They found 3 more gears to shift into and they look faster, they look stronger, they look meaner, they look more dangerous. And if they can continue that trend of doing that as we head into the playoffs this year, but also be that team that can fight and grind back into every game, one, it's a great sign for the team, great sign for the fans, bad sign for you, man, because I feel like some double OT playoff coverage is coming your way this season, unfortunately.
It kind of does feel like it could be a lengthy playoff with some of these games and who their potential matchups could be. But, I think you look back, like you said, the ability to flip the switch, like this year's team's a little different, right? They're a lot younger. So there's a lot of guys that haven't been through that yet. So they've got to get there, right? And that was one thing that, Moulton said, like, we got to start playing 60 minutes and have that match that intensity if you go back and listen to the post game on Sunday. So it's going to be something to monitor as we go.
I think it's important to make that, though, is that these guys climb back. Like, they have the belief in the locker room that they, no matter how much they're down, that they could go out and do it, right? Like, this has been a big talk in the organization this week, and here we see it, a great example of that these guys do it. Like, the core, the leadership, whatever's going on in that locker room, it's working. Like, even though you have these new guys, these younger guys coming in, you still get the same performance because of the pillars that are set, the foundation that's set. And I know, Pat's there now, and like Dan was there before, and like it just kind of continued to transpire between them. So I think that speaks a lot about the organization, though.
Well, it's about the culture, right? And we heard it in the interview. I know, Nick, you haven't got to hear the interview yet with Hawk, but we heard it in that interview. I asked Hawk, when you walked into the locker room in Grand Rapids, could you understand why the team has been so successful? And he said immediately, yeah, it's the room. The room is the key reason on its own to why that team is so successful. The culture and the way that those guys interact with each other is why the Griffins are having the success they are. Toledo's culture has been incredible for how long, Travis? It feels like
10 years.
And you can see the impact that it has on this young team. For a young team to have the ability, when they're not in these situations very often, to crawl back into games like this, that tells the story of how important culture is right there. And hopefully at some point in time, it'll stretch to all 3 teams in the organization.
I mean, I'll say this, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, but you look at it as a whole, right? Like, for the last 10 years, as top to bottom, Toledo's been the most consistent. They've been like what the organization used to be in Detroit. And then you guys had that window, right, where you won the 2 cups. And Toledo hasn't won the cup yet, but you look at the overall sustained success and there's an expectation, but it started 10 years ago. And it's that culture that started way back then and is still going on today. It's the footprint to how to build a good organization, and you got to have that culture. And it starts with bringing in the right people. And over the years, Newsy started it, Waddy continued it, and now you have Pat continuing it on from Waddy.
Can you just say real quick again for the Red Wings fans tuning in, who started it?
Derek Lalonde.
There you go. Just wanted to remind them of that.
It's crazy, too, because we were talking about the Patriarch during the ad break, is Pat's building this team as it goes throughout the season. I've never seen anything like this before. We've seen it before because we've been covering this team, but I don't think other organizations or anybody else sees it can acknowledge that they are literally bringing in new people every 3 weeks. But to continue to have this success, that to me is insane. Like you see Todd pulling people up from GR, same old. Nothing's really sparking there, but you're always bringing new people in all the time at Toledo, and it continues to have that success, right? Like they're only 1-year contracts. If this is a first time person listening to a Toledo episode, like it's amazing how they do this every year.
Yeah, because let's remind those listeners for the first time, like there's not an AGM, GM, and all these other people bringing these guys.
It's Pat.
This is Pat. Pat's got he's wearing 2 hats or 3 hats or how many hats in this organization. And Waddy did it and Malone did it as well. Like that's how it goes at this level of hockey, and to just be constantly building a roster. Like it's an incredible thing to have just go build that roster constantly, but 2, you have to go out there and coach it every night too and get results. It's such a tough position to be in. But God, you look at like the experts that they come out of this in, because I mean, we've said it before. I could talk to Dan Watson about hockey all day long. I would not get bored of that conversation because he understands the role or all the roles in the organization top to bottom because he's had to do it. And it's such a key piece. And that's why I love the way that this organization's been kind of set. I liked it more previously when the other bench boss was in in Detroit, because there was that connection all the way down, not in Toledo. Like I love Waddy in Toledo. I love Pat in Toledo. I love them all. But it was so nice to have that connection top to bottom. At least that's what it felt like from the outside. But that's why I love this connection between Dan and Pat in Grand Rapids. It feels so cohesive. Like everything, the goals are there. They both understand each other's goals. They both understand what they want to build, and they both have been in those shoes and understand it. It's such a cool thing to watch from the outside.
It's just it is, and it's the one thing too with it is you look back to like every team changes so much throughout the season. Like you look at the guys that this team's lost this year. You lost Hillebrand, you lost Moyle. Like who are, like at the time it's like those are huge losses. Well, then you go out and make a trade to bring in a Van Wy, then you sign a Funk, and all of a sudden you've got, the size that Hillebrand had, and the skill that Moyle possessed, and maybe a different asset, with Van Wy getting to the front of the net. Maybe doesn't have the straight line speed, but provides a different, point of play that, it's just, there's different ways to build a roster. And with how much this changes in a daily matter this time of the year, it's after the trade deadline, even, it's just crazy.
Well, like you said, every team is changing. And think of being a video coach at this level and having to go through, like, you're scouting other teams. They're going to look entirely different potentially in 2 weeks when you see them again. It's wild. Like what these coaches do in the ECHL is so underappreciated that I wish people understood it more and could put more focus on it, because the league it's an incredible product. It's awesome to watch. And I'm so happy that we get to cover the organization that we do, because we have it better than a lot of other teams, we'll say that. I also do love some of the names that this team has been adding. We got some names on this team when you look at it, right? You got Hausinger, you got Duff. We got Duff Man on the team, bro. Like how that hasn't been a sign already is beyond me. Like, and you got Funk too. Like Funk is probably the most fun name to post about on social media. There's so many things we can do with it. Nick already had it once with a Funk. Yeah. Like there's a lot. It's fun. This team is fun. The names are fun and the product is great. But anyways, we got to move on. We got 2 more games to still talk about here. And the next one, this one was wild to watch. I got to watch this game a little bit, and this 4-3 win over Bloomington was just a freaking blast, because I thought this game was going to be another one going to overtime, which I think they said on the broadcast it was about to be the 4th or 5th game in a row going into overtime. And Dylan Moulton is just the guy I want to talk about to start off with in this one.
Called game.
Dude.
It's hilarious. So like we take the penalty, right? And I'm already downstairs, and I was talking to Brady, and I'm like, boy, a shorthanded goal here would come up clutch. Like, and he would even say like, this happened. And then all of a sudden the face-off happens down the ice, they go and they score. And I mean, it was just like, it was, he was like, how did you, I'm like, just said it. Like it just happened, but funny moment.
Yeah. I mean, you let Bloomington tie the game at the 13-minute, 8-second mark of the third period. And then you take a penalty at the 19-minute, 21-second mark of the period. And you're like, oh God. Dylan Moulton battles behind the walleye net, makes a great move to make a man miss, and then just goes. And you got to give credit to Cragsy on this too. He did a great job pushing back their D, but burst of speed, takes it himself, shoots it. I was in
Bar
disbelief.
down.
My jaw was on the floor.
Yeah, bar down too. It was a great way to cap a weekend that, Friday probably deserved more. Saturday wasn't their best effort. And, they had the lead in this game, but they end up finding themselves in overtime again. Like, it feels like the games are getting tighter as they go, right? And we're going to talk about another tight game next, but you're starting to see that no room for error in the games, and especially down here, it's just getting that way. But the one thing I want to point out too, like outside of the molten goal, is their power play was rolling. I know you were like a little critical of it last time we talked, and since then I think they scored 5 power play goals. So I know it didn't get posted, but it was talked about, and they figuratively told you to pack sand.
All right, fair enough.
It just had to be out there in the universe.
Dude, that happens so often for me. At the same time, no, it's great. Like 3 for 6 in this game, that's huge. You had 2 of those goals being from Hawk, one of them from Bantle, his first of the season with the Walleye. It was great to see him finding the back of the net. Hawk finding the back of the net twice, and this one was great. It is good to see the power play click, and I know you talked with Boehner after that one, and he was quite satisfied with what he saw out there.
Yeah, and they got the conversions right, and that was the one thing. Like, they had some opportunities in other games and it didn't go well, and it's a process of just sticking with it, putting guys in the right spot. And Boehner really good with the power play.
Well, it was like he spoke acknowledging the episode that never aired because you didn't upload it. Because he was like, guys are in different situations and they're all adjusting. And I'm like, yeah, that's kind of what we hinted at after I went on my rant about it. So it's like he was in the room with us, but he wasn't. Unless he was. And then that's creepy and we have to have a different discussion.
Maybe Travis just sent him the episode.
I said what I said.
I did not do that. But another thing that I want to point out with this game, and then we can move on because I know we still have another one. I know Gyro gave up 3, but he was still incredible. The first period, like, it could have been a blowout for Bloomington. Like, that first period, he kept them in the first period. He made about 3 or 4 big saves in that period where I was like, oh, Gyro, that's a huge save there.
Yeah, I mean, Gyro looked great in this one. Yes, again, he let in 3, but at the same time, he definitely gave the guys a chance to win this game. And I don't know, again, it's not a slight at the other goaltenders. I don't know what the result would have been with them in net, but in the situation he was in, he gave them a chance to win, and he did make some outstanding saves in this one. And I would expect absolutely nothing less.
Do you think he sees the game differently? Like, because he had that stint up here with us, that when he goes back, like, things get slowed down a little bit?
That I think it's because he talked in the postgame with the Griffins after that win in Cleveland, and they asked, the biggest difference between the ECHL and the AHL, and a lot was focused on like the execution of play is much different between the two leagues. It's not that the talent's not there between the two leagues; it's just how the plays are executed, and it's definitely a different look. Like his numbers are obviously vastly different between the two leagues. But again, in the time he was gone, how many guys got added to this roster that are playing in front of him that are different? Like, it's the adjustments and all the other things that play into it for a goaltender when you've got a whole entirely different roster playing in front of you week to week at this point in Toledo. So as long as you'd go out there and at least give the boys a chance to win when the offense is going to click, that's all you can ask for a goaltender in the situation that he's in. And again, it is a shared net between 3 goaltenders that does make an impact.
Yeah, it's hard to get in a rhythm. And like you said, too, like, I think, too, like, you could say the American League's maybe a little bit more polished as far as, like, maybe a little bit more structure, a little bit more, like I don't really know how to say it, but just
more structure is probably the right way.
More structure, maybe a little bit more attention to detail. There's plenty of it in the coast. Like, that's not to say the coast doesn't have it. It's just I feel like sometimes in the coast it can get a little chaotic. Like, some chaos ensues a little bit quicker in the ECHL than the American League. And that can be in and of itself tough, right? For a goaltender, especially if it's happening in your own end. You find yourself I think you find yourself way more odd man rushes at this level than you would in maybe the American League.
Yeah. I mean, the games are they're entirely different. I mean, they're officiated differently even. You look at some of these games where you have one referee and 2 linesmen instead of 2 refs and 2 linesmen. Like,
Right.
that changes everything. You'll get longer whistles as a goaltender. Like, that changes everything.
Yeah.
And in this game, you saw a guy run some situations where it took a while to get that whistle to blow when that puck was covered. So it does change everything. And the accounting stats at this level, you can't take into consideration when you try to say, is this goaltender ready for the next level? Because it is entirely different. So that, and there's one last story out of this too, because there was a little bit of an incident that ended up resulting in a suspension. Not for us though.
Yeah, Riley McCourt got butt-ended in the throat, and it was a little bit of it was a scary play nonetheless. And glad the guy got something out of it because that's a dangerous play, right? And seemed well warranted that it was at least a suspension.
But yeah, no, it is good to see at least something. Like you said, one game doesn't seem like enough, but I don't know this player's history. I don't know if this is a first-time offense or what. Someone will have to let us know in the comments if they know potentially. But at the same time, I don't want to get into a rant about player safety departments because I think in all 3 leagues they suck. But that's just what I say. Anyways, it's a good win, a fun win, an exciting win. Again, the mullet skull literally had my jaw on the floor for probably 2 hours afterwards. And it was just fun to watch. That's another one of those fun games, like these close games. They're you don't want to be close. You like some good big wins there, but like that game against Tahoe where we're like, that was a fun game to watch. It was close. It was tight. This was another one of those games where it was just fun hockey to watch no matter what. Let's talk about the last game that just happened last night. We're finally back to almost reality here when we're talking about the Walleye on this show. And it was another overtime game, but this time an overtime win, 5-4 in Indy. Trev, besides the chaos around your house during this game with whatever storm blew through Toledo, what did you see in this one?
Well, I got to ask you first, which goal had your mouth on the floor longer? Was it the goal that Moulton scored on Sunday or the goal that Moulton scored last night?
Oh, man. The one on Sunday, just because the timing. Just the timing.
See, I'm going last night because I did not expect that out of Moulton.
No, neither did I. But let's just say Moulton and McCallion are both on a little bit of a tear right now.
Yeah, it's, you think when all the signings happened, you probably look at Moulton and McCallion and you say, okay, those are maybe more of your defensive defensemen of the group based off of kind of, for the most part, how last season went. And right now, McCallion, just everything he shoots is going in, and Moulton's must be like, well, if he's going to start shooting and seeing pucks going in, I guess I'm going to start doing the same, and he's following suits. Yeah, maybe two of the more unlikely offensive defensemen have found their offense, and you gotta love that for the depth purpose.
Oh, 100%. It's a wonderful thing to see. And yes, Moulton's goal was incredible, but Dickinson going coast to coast in OT.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, he picked the puck up at the bottom of the circle and just went for a skate and made a great shot. And that's a cool goal for him. I wish that would have been at home. Like, that would have been a sweet one to score at home because he's from, the area. But still, nonetheless, that's, again, you talk about 1 point and what a difference it can make. Like, that's a huge point, the extra point they got last night.
Well, as sweet as it would have been to see at home, it's still sweet in a way because it's his 20th of the season. I don't think any of us had him written down as a 20-goal scorer this season.
Anyway, I thought he'd have a pretty good year. He was a 4th-round pick in the NHL draft. Like, he's a good player.
I mean, yeah, but like when you, again, just like Grand Rapids, there was so many question marks going into this season around players. He wasn't one I was like, yep, 20-plus goal scorer, guarantee. Like, I wasn't signing that off. And he's been such an incredibly key piece to this Walleye roster this year, and the plays that he's capable of making still blow my mind every week.
Yeah, I mean, he's their top center. Like, that's the guy they're going to go to for the most important draws and the most important situations. So that's kind of their Trenton Bliss this year, right? Like, Blisser was always the guy they would go to in those big situations last few years in the face-off circle and, down the middle. So it's kind of like their guy right now.
Talk about big shoes to fill, and he's done a great job of it.
Yeah, he has. He's had a really good year. And another cool thing from this game is that Hausinger got one against his former club. A weird goal, too. Probably didn't really think that would go in.
We'll take it, though.
Yeah, and then just the overall performance, a 48-shot performance with 20 in the third period.
Yeah, that right there is insane. Like, that's more shots on goal than some teams get in a game, and they did it in one period. It is insane that they only got one goal past Weeks in that one. But again, you have, let's be real, Weeks is an AHL goaltender, but so was Carter. But you had 2 AHL goaltenders dueling it out in the coast in this game. Yeah,
and I mean, that's kind of, you get to this point in the year, you're probably going to be playing those kind of players. right? Teams are getting an influx of players. Other,
I don't know. I think Rockford might have preferred to have Weeks last night. I don't know.
Well, if Rockford misses, they'll probably have Weeks in Indy. So like in Indy's, they're in a fight for the playoffs, but like you're going to face a lot of, you're facing good goaltending is what I'm trying to get to. Like you're facing prospects for teams. So it's not like you're facing rookies out of junior for the most part.
If Rockford misses, I'm pretty sure we put the nail in that coffin last night in Grand Rapids. But anyways, yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see just what these playoffs look like, and that race for fourth place continues to be a joke as it was last season, but we'll talk about that here in a second. Just any final thoughts from this stretch of 4 games, really the stretch of these last 2 weeks, because I know we had Tahoe in town and we didn't get to talk about that on the show. We did, but it never aired. But at the same time, like, just what have you seen as these new additions have come in, as this team is trying to essentially, we're kind of back to the start of the season where there's a lot of guys learning.
Yeah, they've grown up a lot throughout the year, but at the same time, they're still tweaking as the playoffs get near. And I think they'll be in good shape once they get here. It's just we got to get to that point in the year. We still got a couple weeks, but all in all, you look at the additions they've made, I think they're more suited for the playoffs than maybe they were in December.
Is it nicer this year with how this roster has been constructed and built that the Central just hasn't been locked down by them already? Like, it's still a tight race to go lock down that top spot in the division. So these games are more meaningful. Like, these younger guys are playing in bigger games at this point in the season, maybe than they were the past couple of seasons.
Yeah, 100%. Like, you look at some of the rookies are playing meaningful games down the stretch still. It's not like you've got a 20-point lead over second place or 15-point lead over second place. Like, so it's one thing. And you look at, down the stretch, you got 2 games with Fort Wayne. That's probably going to decide the division. Like, anybody loses in regulation, that's a 4-pointer, and you got 2 of them there. So like, those are very, very big matchups. So it's going to be interesting. Every point matters down the stretch. They have a game in hand. So you got to kind of treat it as we have the same amount of points, even though they're 2 behind. Yeah, they have to win that game in hand, but you almost have to, with how good that team is, think that they're going to win that game in hand.
I will say, speaking from experience, a 23-point lead over second is a lot of fun because that's what Grand Rapids has over Chicago right now. But yeah, it is nice to see those. And those Fort Wayne games, like you said, those are going to be crucial games. I hate that they're both in Fort Wayne because I'd rather go to Toledo to watch them than Fort Wayne. But at the same time, one of them's also on a Thursday night. Come on.
Well, you're starting to get into the playoffs, and the playoff schedule, you get some weekday games now. So it's a good prep for them. It's another one of those, going into the second season, as it's some people call it. You're going to play more games in the weekdays, and you got to be prepared. So it's a good way to get prepared is to go down there and play on a Thursday night. So it's a good thing. And that could honestly, because I think that game's the second to last game of the season. So like that could very well decide the division. Like that game could decide who wins home ice for the first 2 rounds.
Yeah, actually, in reality, I want to say 4, maybe 6 out of these last 7 games are deciding not just the division, but who Toledo is going to play in the first round, because you're playing Kalamazoo this Friday. Then you're playing the powerhouse of Wheeling at home on Saturday. The following weekend, you've got 2 games against Cincy, home and home. You got the 2 Fort Wayne games, then you cap off the season against Wheeling at home. 1, you're playing meaningful games. 2, you're playing 2 of the toughest teams in the league down this stretch. This is good stuff for these young players. This is really good.
And Wheeling, they're rolling right now. I think they won last night. I think that's 9 in a row for Wheeling going into what would be probably tomorrow night. Well, tonight. And then they're in
9
town
in a row
tomorrow.
right now.
So
yeah, it's really cool. That it's so nice to have these kind of opponents instead of playing Iowa leading into the playoffs, right? Like you're going to get playoff intensity from almost all of these opponents, because you got Kalamazoo in the mix too. Like they still could make it. So
we'll think back to a few years ago, dude. Like, I think it would have been your first year covering the show. Like, we had Wheeling in this division.
Mm-hmm.
You're going Fort Wayne Wheeling just in the first 2 rounds. Like, and then, if they got bounced in the conference final, it's like, well, damn, we lost again. And it's like, well, damn, did you see who we just went through to get to this point? Like,
yeah, but if you think back, like who were your typical opponents near the end of the season then? Because like I remember even last year, the last couple games were against Indy.
right. I'm just, they're good tests. You got Wheeling twice and Fort Wayne twice. That's
how you get playoff game ready.
Yeah, very much so. They're great tests and they're great preparation for what's ahead here in 2.5, in about 3 weeks.
Exactly. All right, let's talk about where the standings sit in the ECHL because it's been a couple of weeks, obviously, since we provided an update. And we'll start with the Central Division. Toledo is in first place over Fort Wayne by 2 points there. So this race is going to just continue to be interesting to watch. You got Indy in third at 72 points. You have Kalamazoo and Cincy tied for fourth at 68 points, with Kalamazoo ahead of them with the tiebreaker right now. Kalamazoo does have one game in hand on Cincy as well. You have Bloomington 1 point behind both of them down in sixth place. And then Iowa, obviously at the bottom of the division, out of the picture. We don't need to talk about them. We'll head over to the Mountain Division. You have Kansas City at the top at 106 points, have clinched the division already as well. Idaho behind them. Allen already clinched a spot as well. So Idaho and Allen have all clinched. You have one spot remaining for a playoff spot in that division. Tahoe is sitting in that right now with a 10-point lead over Rapid City. So it's pretty much going to be Tahoe at this point, unless something disastrous happened. Wichita is also tied with Rapid City there too. So I guess, again, if Tahoe has a massive fall off, it would be a battle between those three teams. Utah 1 point behind Wichita, and then you have Tulsa at the bottom of that division, 8 points behind Utah. We'll head over to the Eastern Conference and we'll start in the South. Florida still at the top of that division there, but have not clinched the division just yet. They're at 95 points. Atlanta's behind them at 87 points, with South Carolina right on their heels at 86 points. And then it's a massive drop off in points to fourth place at 66 points. It looks like first and second in the AHL Central.
Well, I want to point one thing out in this division because we've got 4 guys down in Jacksonville trying to make a late season charge. They went down there when that trade was made. Remember with Jacksonville, we sent those guys down there. They were in last place, and they're all of a sudden only 6 points back with 2 games in hand on Savannah. So they're making a run at this. They're making a run at this. So that would be cool for them to come back. Obviously, they'd have to go through Florida in the first round, but a little party still wants them to make the dance just because they would have made it.
If they make the dance and they're hot, maybe you do want them facing Florida in the first round, right?
Yeah, maybe. I mean,
little battle of Florida action happening down there.
Yeah,
I'll take it.
Be interesting.
Behind Jacksonville, you got Greenville in Orlando. I mean, basically out of the picture. We knew Orlando was out of the picture a while ago. The math never was in their favor, and they are sitting at the bottom of the division again. We'll head over to the north, and obviously, like we mentioned them earlier, Wheeling leading that division at 92 points and on a 9-game win streak, 9-1 in their past 10. They have obviously clinched a playoff spot, but have not clinched the division yet. You have Maine behind them at 84 points, who have also clinched a playoff spot. You got Reading behind them in third place, Adirondack in fourth, Three Rivers in fifth place. It's 9 points. I don't see that happening. So champions last year, most likely missing the playoffs this year.
Yeah,
it's just how this doesn't surprise you in this league, though. It's kind of how it works. Right behind them, you got the Railers, you got Norfolk, and you got Greensboro in last place at 43 points on the season, making them the last place team in the league behind Iowa. Battle for the league title. I think Kansas City is going to have that one locked down. What do you say, Trav?
Yeah, they got it. I don't think anybody's catching them. They're 8-1 in their last 10.
Is it a curse in that league, though?
8-1, 0-1. It can be. It has been for many years.
Did you see the goal against Kansas City last night that made its way around the hockey world today?
Yeah, that was a tough one. That was a tough one.
That's like if you're a goaltender, 10 the goal, but he was still kind of in front of the goal. That's just brutal. Was it LaFontaine?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
yeah.
He's already in golf mode, apparently. First round exit, Kansas City. Here we go.
Depending who they play, don't be shocked if I say there's a potential upset in the first round, because
I think Tahoe can take them.
I really do. I said that to you when we were at the game. I'm like, dude, this team, if they can keep the puck out of their net, they can score. They're going to struggle to keep the puck out of their net because Kansas City's a good team. But that when we get down to breaking down the playoffs, it's going to be a fun series to look at.
Yeah, I mean, you look at goals scored, right? And Tahoe's up there.
Yeah, they are.
By saying up there, they are the top team in the league for goals scored. Goals against, well,
they're up there.
They're up there. So that might just be one of those series where you look at it and go, all right, Tahoe won 8-7. Like, that
Yeah.
might be what happens.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be fun. Yeah, we'll have playoff breakdowns, obviously, as we get closer to the postseason for the Kelly Cup playoffs. And same for the Grand Rapids Griffins as we get closer to that. Look forward to playoff previews during the Griffins' first round bye with the AHL's stupid schedule, and Toledo's will have to bust out quickly because they actually do playoffs right in the ECHL. So look forward to sharing those with you guys once we get a little closer and know who our opponents are. But that is all we have for this week's Walleye Update. Again, thank you to Brandon Hawkins and the Toledo Walleye for setting up that interview. It was so nice to have Hawk back on the show for the third, fourth time? Good Lord. But he was overdue for his visit with us this season. So exciting to have that done and out of the way. It's usually good for him to get done. He usually kind of goes on a heater after being on the show, and he
kind of has.
Yeah, exactly. You're welcome. You're welcome, Hawk. It's something about talking to us that just makes magic happen. We'll take 0.1% of the credit for what you've been doing lately. Outside of that, nothing else. We'll wrap this up. Thank you again to our sponsors of the show, DraftKings and Everything Hockey Clothing Company. When you're betting with DraftKings, use code THPN. And when you're shopping at everythinghockey.com, use code WEST to save a few bucks off your order. We also got to thank our Patreon subscribers as well, who will have a fun little extra episode in this one. I still owe you guys the extra episode from the Griffins one too. I know they're unedited, but I have to edit a piece of it. I'm sorry, but we'll get that out to you guys here shortly so you guys can enjoy all the stories from Travis's little vacation as well, and how many texts we got at 2:30 in the morning while he was down there.
Maybe I'll throw in the episode that didn't get aired.
Yeah,
people.
throw a few out there for you folks. But the Patreon subscribers who are over there at patreon.com/Hockeytown West podcast are...
We've got Michael Asante, Alan and Lori Fausch, Derek Sleazer, Griffin Knott from GR, Elaine Grace, John in Florida, Tyler Ingalls, D-Boss is D-Boss, Joe Schroeder, Peter Grell, Darren Swartz, Zach, Bert, Rito, Alan, GR, Bex, and Jason C.
Thank you to everyone, including Tyler Ingalls, for supporting the show. Love you guys. Appreciate everything you guys do for us. All right. Well, that is it. We've got what coming up this weekend again, Trav? We've got the Walleye in Kalamazoo on Friday, and then I already forgot who the opponent was on Saturday. It was Wheeling. So fun schedule coming up. Stay tuned on all the social media pages for highlights and updates and post-game from the home games. And if I get adventurous enough, maybe post-game from the road game. Probably not. Not going to promise you guys that. And obviously the Griffins play Friday at 3 o'clock and Saturday at 3 o'clock as well. So stay tuned for all the highlights from those games as they're on the road in Manitoba. And we'll be back next week with another Griffins and Walleye update for you. But until then, as always, go Griffins, go Walleye.
Love you. Bye.
Thank you for tuning in to the Hockeytown West podcast. Be sure to check us out on Twitter at HockeytownWPod, and your hosts, Nick at GR Hockey Guy, Brandon at Brandon GR Hockey, and Travis at Trav in T-Town.